Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Select Titanium Man, and this one came out a little while back now, but this is one of the ones they sent me as a review sample, or at least they sent me a bunch of samples and said, do whatever you want with them, because, hey, I like companies like that, and what the heck, I guess they're comfortable with their product. But this is what you expect it to be. I think that's probably also why they don't mind sending stuff out. Is it going to pose the best ever? No, but is it going to have a unique sculpt and look pretty cool? Probably. And, well, that's why I have it. I thought it might be the case, and I wanted to show you guys and see what I thought about it for myself. So, let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. Big old package, just like I've said on every other one of these things. They are humongous. Don't plan to collect on the card unless you live in a mansion. Really cool artwork on the side. Really basic back of the package. And then just blister on this side. Nothing special other than the size, really. And I guess the artwork is pretty good, too. Alright, so, question of the day. How many of you guys collect both Marvel Legends and Marvel Select? How many of you collect only Marvel Select? And how many of you just cherry pick either one because of the character or whatever the case is? For me, for Marvel Select, it's a cherry picking sort of situation until they sent me a bunch, but it happens to be that a bunch of the ones they sent are ones I would have wanted anyway, like this guy. So let's get into his measurement. He stands just about 9 3/4 inches tall. That's going to make him roughly about 25 centimeters, and I do believe this guy's supposed to be pretty dang tall. In the comics, he's like 11 feet or something like that, right? I'm pretty sure I remember something about him being extra big. And if he's coming in, he's actually undersized at that. But that's pretty, like, that's fine. You could definitely fudge that in. And if I'm right that he's supposed to be like 11 or 12 feet, he's undersized, which is unusual for Marvel Select. But definitely doable. Here he is up against Cap. He's way undersized if he's supposed to be 11 or 12 feet. So, worth noting, he's kind of small, even though he's humongous. So let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. It's all green. It's just a whole bunch of green paint. I imagine, it could be bare plastic, honestly, but they've done a good job with the finish that it looks like it's meant to be that way, and he is supposed to be that way, so I can't really fault him for it. We do have some really nice silver soles on his shoes. Very nice sculpt and paintwork. And then we have the head, which is, that's what it's supposed to look like. So I cannot fault them for its simplicity. It is sculpted and painted pretty well. And I like it. Like, that's a good sculpt for Titanium Man. Throwing him into the Marvel Legends collection will work perfectly. That's a good looking figure. So aesthetically, I'm very pleased. I guess I could count, well, I'll count that in the accessories. Even though he comes with the unhelmeted head on him in the package, I'll never use it. So I'm going to count the aesthetic as 8 out of 10. A little bit of shading, a little bit of paint work on there. Like, there's a little bit of black here and there, like in the grooves. But a little bit more wouldn't hurt. But yeah, it still looks pretty darn good. Now, as far as accessories go, you get the fist hands and then the open hands, pretty basic. And you get the Karl Urban head. It doesn't actually look like Karl Urban that much, but yeah, it kind of does. But yeah, that's a good head sculpt. The paint is a little good and a little iffy. It almost looks like a Christmas ornament. You guys know what kind of paint work I'm talking about? That kind of, I don't know how you would describe it. I don't know, but maybe you know what I'm referring to. All the little Santas always have this kind of paint job. At least that's what it reminds me of. But yeah, it's a good head sculpt. It's a little oversized probably, or at least the helmeted head is undersized, but still a good sculpt and decent enough paintwork. 5 out of 10 for accessories. It's pretty basic. Alright, now it's time to go to the articulation. What can this guy do? The head moves around really nicely on a double ball peg. Gets a little gappy here and there. Just don't go that far, but you get all the range you need. For the shoulder, full thing rotates around in there. You can raise it up almost to horizontal. It's surprisingly good. Works nicely. I'll take it. A little bit of glue residue on there, but wiped right off. There is a bicep swivel, so if you need that, you have that. Single jointed elbow, but it tucks in nicely, so you get 90 degrees. You get more rotation out of that if you want that as well, and then of course the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. For the torso, mine I think was just kind of mushed when it was put together, because it pops apart really easily, and you can see there's a little bit of, let me see if I can zoom in on that. There's a little bit of deformation back here in the back part. I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell. Anyway, I think mine was just a little bit defective. Not crazy, but it doesn't want to stay on very well. But he doesn't have the best range anyway. It's pretty limited. He's pretty chunky, but it's there, so I guess that's okay. There is a waist twist under the skirt as well. You're not going to get a lot out of it. Well, let's just set that aside. For the hips, the skirt does get in the way, but let's see. We can go out pretty far. I mean, I'll take that. That's as far as most Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures. At least that was the case for a while. Bringing the leg forward, the skirt does not allow it. You can see it's bunching, so very limited range going forward. There is some thigh swivel. It's just a big ball peg in there. The shins, or the knees and shins, it's all one piece. It's just a swivel hinge. So you get 90 degrees just about, and it does rotate, but not a whole lot going on there. And then for the ankles, you get decent range going back, decent range going forward, and they're like true ball hinges. So he has really good ankles for the rest of the figure, which doesn't pose very well. But hey, you know what? The ankles are good. So yeah, it's like you would have expected for something like this. It's not going to pose super well. It probably will pose well enough, though, I think, if you wanted a big old, nicely sculpted titanium man with a cool finish. I say get it. Articulation's going to be a 4 out of 10. It's pretty bad. The neck and arms are decent. Ankles are good. The rest is it's just enough. But yeah, he looks good. He's a good size. He's a good chunky figure. The finish, it's basic, but it is what it's supposed to be. I like it. I personally like this sort of thing a whole bunch. And, you know, I get a lot of people in the comments, oh, I really need to pose my figures a lot. And if that's for you, then this probably isn't. But I think most collectors are getting to the point, especially if you're my age, which is in your 30s, mid to late 30s, you probably have more stuff than you need in limited space, which means dynamic posing isn't probably what you're aiming for. So I'll take something like this on a character like this. Just stand there and look cool. Let me pose you a little bit and I'll be happy. Anyway, I'm going to give this guy an overall rating of 8 out of 10. He looks pretty darn good. Doesn't pose that well, doesn't have a lot of accessories, but it's enough. At the price point, I think anybody who buys this and knowing anything about it, you'll be satisfied. If you buy it thinking it's going to pose great, then you're going to be disappointed, but you shouldn't be doing that because I just gave you all the information you need. And it's a Marvel Select, and they don't tend to do that on their chunky figures. But that's it for me, so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.